Hey yo guys, Fat Lizard Boy here, back at it again with another what if. Okay, so I'm gonna be uploading 2 what ifs at the same time. There's gonna be 2 every single day, each one an hour long. Cause fuck it, I want to get back into them. So, this one, what if Deku had a certain, I guess, I don't know how to describe it. Was able to I don't really know how to describe it. So basically, he's slightly similar. So his ability is similar to Satan. Yes. And what's gonna work is that, let's just say, you can sell your soul. Like if you could give him your soul, in return, he can do anything with the soul. He can create a second interdimension with it, right? And he can do anything like it, but he needs souls to keep his. So I don't really know how to describe it. He doesn't need souls, but he really likes to have them on hand. So let's just say this. Let's just say he really wanted to do something. He really wanted a super cool ability, right? But he didn't make one, right? So he would go find someone who was desperate. Really desperate. He can then make him a deal saying, hey, if you give me your soul, I'll grant you 1 wish. They do that and he'll grant him a wish, but he'll also, in turn, use that wish to get what he wants as well. And if he has a soul, he doesn't really need to, he can do anything with the soul, give him quirks or whatever as well. So we're going to start when Deku is born, right? When he's born with these 2 tiny horns at the top of his head. You can imagine how painful that was for Inko. I'm kidding, she had a C-section. So, these 2 tiny horns, right? The doctors thought, oh, this must be a mutation quirk, right? Hisashi was never in his life at all. Hisashi was actually killed. So, let's just say when Deku was conceived, about 2 months afterwards, he was killed in a car accident. So he didn't just up and leave. He was killed in a car accident. So, I don't really know how to describe how to do anything with this, but Also, I'm gonna say that Deku gonna be. No, never mind. I think I know how to do this. So, we're gonna go ahead and skip to when Deku's 4. Because I don't really have anything to make up with this. So, they take him to the quirk doctor, and the quirk gets it assessed, and they don't really know, and they just kind of describe it as he can take souls or whatever. I don't really know how to describe it. I guess you can just say that doctor says that he can take a soul of a person and use that to do anything with that, but they need to be offered. And it is a mutation-like quirk, because the more souls he has, the bigger his horns get. His horns are super tiny because the only soul he has is his, and he can't use his soul for anything yet. So, and in this one, I'm going to do something very interesting, right? Shortly after they learn this, Bakugo goes to get his quirk tested. Turns out that Bakugo Katsuki is quirkless. If you don't know where I'm going with this, you can imagine. Try thinking of it. So, shortly after this, right, their family is super disappointed, right? But, Bakugo gets heavily bullied for not having a quirk, right? He comes home with tons of bruises and cuts and scratches all over him for a week, right? And his father just can't take any of this anymore. So, he and Mitsuki come over, right? And so his Bakugo's father come over to Deku's house, right? And they mainly have a talk about something that Izuku and Mitsuki are not allowed to be in. It's just with them Bakugo's father and Izuku's mother. Yeah. Right, and this discussion was Bakugo's father was willing to pay a large sum of money of his own cash to Inko to be allowed to use Deku's quirk to give Bakugo a quirk. Inko said no, but eventually Bakugo's dad always kept bumping up the price over and over again, right? Up until the point where she just couldn't refuse the money because of how much it was. So she finally agreed to his terms, just all this money. So then Bakugo's father went into a room with Izuku, right? And so Izuku already knew how to do this because he was just born with the knowledge on how to take souls or whatever. So Deku, Bakugo's father talks to Deku and he says, "Look, I need you. I'm willing to sell you my soul if you give him a Bakugo a quirk." And Izuku goes, "What?" And he's only 4, so he doesn't really understand, but he agrees. And he doesn't know what's going to happen to him, Bakugo's father. Bakugo's father is a really desperate but very good man. So Deku agrees. Right, and Deku sticks out his hand because, like I said, he already knows how this works. So Deku sticks out his hands, right? And the second Bakugo's father touches it, their hands glow. The fire burns so after Bakugo's dad lets go of Deku's hand, his hand catches on fire and he puts out the fire quickly. Bakugo's father then falls over dead on the ground. Completely dead. Deku screams and then Inko runs in to see. Also, actually, never mind. I'm just going to say Mitsuki was not there during this. So, Inko runs in and sees what happens. And so, Inko has a new large amount of money. As she got, because, he basically just wrote Inko a check, and Inko cashed it in, like, very shortly afterwards. And so basically, now Deku's family is rich, but Mitsuki is very distraught over this, over the sudden death of her husband. Also, whenever it was brought up, it just said that he had a fatal heart attack, even though he had no previous conditions. And they were like, "What the fuck happened?" He didn't have any heart conditions or anything. Shortly after, Bakugo's quirk suddenly started working. Explosions. And Bakugo becomes that fucking hotshot kind of guy, right? He becomes like he always does. But he's not as much of a dick because, well, I mean, he did lose his father, so he's just a lot more, not as better than you, but, like, he still thinks that, and he still acts like Bakugo, except just imagine that, but Bakugo's slightly saddened that his father didn't get to see his quirk. So Bakugo stopped getting bullied because he has such a strong quirk. Deku was never bullied because, well, I mean, like, this kid can take your soul and make anything with it. So, like, what the fuck are you gonna bully him for? So how it works is that if you sell your soul, you don't always die. How it works is if your soul means something to you, it can either hurt you or kill you. So let's just say you're a very extremely great person, and it hurts your soul when people are sad and stuff. And if you were to sell your soul, it would kill you. But let's say you're just downright evil, like All For One, or just horribly evil. And then selling your soul wouldn't do a damn thing. And since Bakugo's father was this very good guy, he died from it. So let's just say All Might were to sell his soul, All Might would die. If Bakugo were to sell his soul, who knows what would happen to him? He'd feel a little bit sick, and he'd feel a little bit of pain. He'd feel some pain from it. So we're gonna go ahead and skip 14. We're gonna go ahead and skip 10 years. Deku's now 14. So when Deku has no souls, his horns are like about 2 centimeters big. Deku's horns are about a good 8 inches. Yeah, his horns are about a good 8 inches. That's how many souls he's got right now. How will you be surprised just how many kids would sell their soul to get perfect grades? Or like amazing knowledge so that they can pass a lot of tests. None of the kids died, of course, because most of the kids are just dicks. They just felt sick afterwards. And Deku's kind of becoming slightly villain-like, but he's not like evil at all by any means. He's becoming slightly villain-like. He's becoming mischievous, dubious. And so, about the year before, when Deku was 13, his horns were about a good foot and a half. Foot and 6 inches. So I guess that'd be about 18 inches. Yeah, but he used a bunch of souls to get himself some power. So what Deku can do right now is he can see through walls, see people with a soul, and depending on the person, their soul will either go bright green, a white, greenish white, reddish white, and red. If the soul is green, it means they're a good person, and then they'll die if he takes their soul. If they're greenish white, then they'll be really hurt and they'll feel extremely sick from it. If they're white, they'll feel some pain and they'll get a little bit of nausea if he takes their soul. If they're slightly red, they might feel a little slightly nauseous. If they're all red, they won't feel a damn thing. But he can also stop time for a short amount of time. And he can make certain objects. He can only be thinking about the object if he wants to make it. So like he can't have any other thoughts instead other than the object in order to make it. And he prefers not to use up an entire soul for just one small thing. So that's what he got this ability for. So he has a bunch of souls left. Right, and so, and so a bunch of people have, known about Deku's quirk. And well, it's gotten around, and a bunch of people have tried selling their soul to Deku for some good thing, for some things in return. Deku, unless it's like absolutely necessary or things like that, he will not sell his soul to someone. He will not take someone's soul if it kills him. He has done that in some cases, but that was in very rare cases where like somebody said, "Hey, I think you could I would like to sell my soul." Deku would say, "Well, why?" He'd go, "Well, my mom has cancer, and she's gonna die soon because of it, and she's already going downhill, and I love her a lot." And so they give him a sob story and stuff, and Deku would be like, "Alright, kid, shake my hand. You got a deal." Kid would shake his hand and then collapse dead. His mother would miraculously get over her cancer. And things like that. So shortly after the last day of school, right? The whole teacher did the whole thing. Bakugo never got into fights with Deku because, like, Deku could have killed him if he wanted to. And Bakugo knows this. Bakugo nor Mitsuki know about how Deku is the only reason why Bakugo has a quirk. Or that Deku basically killed Bakugo's father. Well, I guess it's more of a suicide. Yeah. So one day while Deku was walking home one day from school, he took a longer route. He bumped into this sad-looking woman, right? She goes, "Hey, do you know a kid by the name of Izuku Midoriya?" Deku goes, "Yeah, that's me." She goes, "Really? Really? Really? Oh my god. Thank you. I really need to speak to you." And this woman was older. Was kind of old. Not really old. She looked about in her late 30s, early 40s. So Deku asked her, "Let me guess, you want to sell your soul?" This woman, she wasn't green, but she was whitish. She was greenish white. Which means that if you were to take her soul, it would hurt a lot. And she goes, I want to make a deal with you. And Deku goes, okay, what is it? And she goes, "I've always wanted kids, but I've been infertile most of my life. I've been completely infertile." And she goes on about how her entire dream was to have kids, right? And things like this bring into a new life, right? Except for, like, saving lives does not count. But bringing in lives that didn't already exist, were to have side effects, big or small. So Deku thinks, alright, well, what do you want? And she goes, "I'd like to be able to have a kid, more specifically a daughter." Deku goes, "Alright, fine, I'll do it, right?" And she goes, "Really?" And Deku goes, "But, you see, instead, so she tells her that for things like this, every good thing has to have a drawback, big or little. It can be completely stupid, but you can just imagine what they could be." So she goes, "What is it?" And he goes, "Well, you see, you will have memories of this deal going on, but instead, you would have gave birth to a baby girl about 14 years ago. And she would just be like, okay, is that it? And Zuki would go, "Oh, no, not at all. I said a drawback, that would be good for you. There's no drawbacks to that." She goes, "Okay, what's the drawback?" Deku goes, he goes, 2 months before her 16th birthday, I guess you could say, he goes, fuck, how do I word this? Okay, I think I know how. He goes, your daughter will meet a man she falls in love with. 2 months before her 16th birthday, she will, conceive a child without knowing it." And she goes, is that it?" And Deku goes, "Yes, I thought you would be more upset about that." And she goes, "Oh, no. I'm perfectly okay with that." Deku would go, "Alright then. Shake my hand and you got a deal." She would shake his hand. Her hand would catch on fire, but then she would immediately vomit and feel horrible pain. He goes, "Well, that's gonna be like that for the next 2 days, but go home and say hi to your daughter." And this woman would thank Deku while also holding her stomach, throwing up, going, "Ugh!" kind of like that. Well, she slowly made her way back home. Deku just kind of walked home. Was walking home, and then he kind of heard a bunch of screaming. So he walked towards the screaming, thinking, "Huh, wonder what this could be." And then he sees the sludge villain. Right? And he goes, "Oh, God. This thing looks fucking disgusting." And he says to sludge villain, "Yo, whatever the fuck your name is, or whatever the fuck you are, what the fuck are you doing?" And the sludge villain goes, it's like, so he just basically says he's trying to find a body to get away from All Might. And Deku goes, "Oh, well, good luck with that," and just walks away. Sludge villain says, "Oh, no, your body would fit perfect. Your body would do me just fine." Deku goes, I don't think so. And he turns around, looks the sludge villain in the eye. Second he does, his horns get just slightly shorter by, I don't know how much. You can imagine how much. And what he just did was he had the ability of manipulation of liquids, including blood. So he holds out his hands, crushes him, and the sludge villain becomes a tight ball. That's when All Might jumps down and goes, "Oh, kid, it appears you've taken care of the sludge villain for me." And Azuki goes, "Yeah, I did." And All Might goes, "Here, let me just put him in this jar." Grabs a hold of the ball of the sludge villain, puts him in a jar, twists on the lid. Deku then releases his hands, and sludge villain goes from being a ball in the jar to just filling up the jar. All Might then talks to the kid about his quirk. Right, he says, "What quirk do you have?" And Deku goes, while scratching his head, and he goes, "I don't think I want to talk about that, per se." All goes, "Oh, well, that's fine." Right? And then he kind of just jumps away. Deku then sees the sludge villain fall. Deku then manipulates the blood in his body to keep on pumping, right? But he used it to fling himself at All Might. He lands on the roof right next to All Might. All Might buffs down, right? And goes, "Kid. Shit." And he just kind of gets upset that Deku knows now. And Deku goes, yeah, whatever. Well, the reason why I did this was to tell you that you dropped the sludge villain when you jumped. All Might feels in his pockets and goes, "God damn it." Says, "Well, I can't buff up anymore. I think you can stop me again, kid." And Deku goes, "Alright, fine." Pulls out a water bottle and says, "I think this'll do." Pours out all the water, puts the cap back on, and flings himself off the roof. The sludge villain then has Katsuki Bakugo, right? Deku then just holds out his hands, crumples up the sludge villain, right? And just pulls it towards him and forces it into a bottle. And puts the lid on the bottle. Pro Hero arrives and says, "Wait, where's the villain?" Deku throws a water bottle at him and says, "In there." They're about to berate Deku, like scold him when Deku just fucking manipulates his blood and flings him far away. They're like, "What the fuck? What just... huh?" They're just sitting there dumbfounded. As Deku kind of just sprints away. And we're going to go ahead and skip to the UA entrance exam now. The UA entrance exam. Deku walks up, but instead of tripping, he notices a tile. Places his foot on it, right? And crushes it down, and now it's perfectly level with the rest of the tiles. Right? And he bumps into this cute girl, brown hair, pink cheeks, right? She apologizes profusely. She sees his horns and she gets kind of nervous. And she fell on the ground. Deku sticks out his hands with a warm smile and says, "Sorry about that." Helps her up and asks her, "What's her name?" She goes, "Oh, hi. I'm Ochaka Uraraka." He goes, "Oh, me? Oh, that's nice. Nice to meet you, Ochaku. I'm Izuku Midoriya. But a lot of people call me Deku." She goes, "Oh, okay, then I guess I can call you Deku." So they just start having a little chit-chat, banter back and forth. So during the now it's time for President Mike to explain everything. So, Ida stands up, does a whole shouting thing. Deku's sitting there using his quirk, counting all the tons of souls he has, going. And they all make a whoof, whoof, whoof sound. Cause they appear in a circle, right? And he's pulling them out, right? Just looking at them, scanning them, seeing what he can do with them. Just thinking about what he could do with them, I'll imagine all the possibilities, and every time he moves his soul goes whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Kind of, and he goes, "And could you stop that? It's getting very annoying. It's disturbing all of us." And Deku goes, grabs all his souls and crushes them in his hand, and he goes, "Disturbing all of us? You're the dumbass who's shouting in front of everyone." Ida then goes, Deku goes, "Now please, sit down." Ida sits down with the very, very pissed off oomph. President Mike laughs and then goes on with the 0 pointers. Practical exam, Deku. Uses soul. Gets the highest score possible on it. By giving him just knowledge. He's not he doesn't have Nezu's intelligence, no. He just thought of, I guess if I can see a problem, I'll instantly know how to fix it. Or answer it, I guess, or question. That's what he used it to do. So, Deku goes to the practical exam, right? Sees that same girl that he talked to before, kind of freaking out, nervous and scared about what's about to happen. Deku walks out to her, right? He's about to put his hand on her shoulder to, calm her down and give her, to kind of hype her up. Right, and that's when Ida walks up and grabs him by the arm, pulls him back very sharply, and starts scolding about how not to sabotage other students and how you're going to ruin her chances of becoming a great hero. How he's a scoundrel. And that there's no way he can become a hero. Deku literally Ida has a hold of his arm, right? Deku then backhands him and says, "Get your filthy hands off of me." When he did this, he smacked off Ida's glasses. Bakugo seen this, and some other students saw this, right? And they're like, "Oh, don't fuck with him." He then walks up to Uraraka, right, and grabs her by the shoulder. She didn't see that, and he goes, "Hey, Uraraka," and just kind of gives her some advice, saying, "You got this, don't worry. Just focus on the goal. As long as you focus on the goal and try hard, you're definitely going to make it." She goes, Thanks, Deku. That really helped me out a lot, really." Deku goes, "No problem." And now it's time for the gates to open, right? President Mike says the same thing, and Deku just kind of, his horn to get shorter just slightly more. And then he just teleports away. Nobody notices this. Ida has a big old red handprint on his face. Because, that backhand wasn't a soft one. That was a whole ass. Bop! Like the kind that you don't recover from. Like the kind that hits you and you go on the floor, kind of. Like the kind that's like, holy shit, did that just happen? Kind of backhand. Kind that you don't notice till after you're already on the floor. And he's just mainly just crushing all these robots. Because they have oil and other sorts of liquid in him, he just kind of uses that to create pressure and just kind of crushes the robots with it. Crush, teleporting around, just crushing robots. Getting a stupidly high score. And then they release the 0-pointers, right? Deku doesn't give a fuck. He keeps on crushing the 0-pointers with the other robots. And hears a scream, turns around, right? He teleports. And right now I'm gonna say, so you know the sort of outfit Deku wears during the practical exam, right? He's not wearing that. He's more or less kind of wearing fancy shoes, fancy dress pants, and a fancy suit jacket, and things like that. Everyone thought he was gonna do something else or whatever because he looks super fancy or whatever. But no, he didn't. They didn't expect him to go join the hero course. That's why Ida was kind of surprised when Deku backhanded him. Because, like, he didn't seem like the kind of person who would do that. He seemed more like of a deceitful, slightly evilish person. More than anything. Not the kind of guy that backhand you and shit like that. Unless out publicly. So, when he does this, right? So, Uraraka looks up. Her leg is trapped underneath a rock. The 0-pointer's about to stomp on her. She closes her eyes. Right as it's about to touch her, she hears loud crunching as its hydraulics are failing. She opens up her eyes to see Deku. Hand holding the back of her head, right? Because she flung her head back and she was about to put up her arms. And she almost hit her head on the ground right below her when she flung her head back. Deku caught her head, and when she opens up, she sees Deku smiling at her, and his arms like backwards. The 0-pointer's foot is completely broken, smashed inwards up into like its inner leg, and that's why the hydraulics made all that noise. And it just the entire 0-pointer's weight is resting on Deku's arm. Deku then just throws it off. He then leans back, grabs a hold of the boulder, throws it off. He then looks at Uraraka's ankle, sees how it's got a couple cuts, how it might be sprained. Holds out his hand as she feels something weird going on her ankle. All of her skin heals up a lot faster, and her ankle no longer sprained anymore. She asks him, "Whoa, what'd you do?" And he goes, kinda, I basically just healed you. She goes, "Oh, well, wait, what's your power?" And he goes, "I don't really like to explain that to people." And also, by the way, if you're wondering how word got out about Deku's power if nobody asked him, and if he told nobody, it's mainly just because word of mouth. The first guy who ever made a deal with Deku told someone else, and that guy told someone, and told so on and so forth. And so very desperate people will come to Deku, and that's just how he got all these souls. So, it's been said that Deku got a stupidly high score. He got almost All Might score. Just barely All Might score. He did get All Might score. Though there was one kid who got a higher score than him. I'm just trying to say it's a kid with the super strength quirk. He's gonna be in Class 1B. So, Deku did not technically get highest in the physical exam. He got second highest. This kid with the super strength quirk. So, Deku beat All Might's score by 1 point. This kid beat All Might's score by 2 points. That's just barely it. So after that, right, Deku's horns, they're kind of shorter now. They're no longer like 18 inches. They're now like, I'm going to say they're about like maybe 15 inches, 15 to 16 inches. They then shrink a little bit more. Deku makes another ability, and it's to see anyone, anywhere, at any time, under certain circumstances. So he then finds a person who he's looking for. All Might. He then teleports behind All Might, right? All Might's on top of a rooftop in a small Might form, relaxing, having a drink of water. And so Deku appears in front of him. All Might spits out water and goes, "Jesus, kid. How'd you even get there?" Deku goes, "I teleported." All Might goes, "Wait, what?" Deku goes, "Yeah, I kind of have to you, I guess it'd be multiple quirks." And then All Might kind of remembers all for one. And he goes, "Wait, kid." And Deku goes, "I'm here to make a deal with you of sorts." And All Might goes, "What deal?" Izuku says, "I know you're getting a lot weaker." Points to All Might's wound. All Might looks down at his side, touches it. And he goes, "What do you mean, kid?" And he goes, "All for One really fucked you up there, didn't he?" All Might goes, "How do you know about that, kid?" Deku goes, "Oh, don't worry, I can just read your soul." All Might goes, "So what do you want?" Deku goes, "I'll heal up that injury and bring her right back up to full strength." Deku's about to say, "If you sell me your soul," but then he realizes that, oh wait, that'd just kill All Might. That wouldn't be useful at all. He goes, "If you..." And he thinks to himself, what could I do? What would be fun? And he goes, "Oh, I know." And he says to All Might, and he goes, "If you can beat me in a game of shots." All Might goes, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I mean, Deku means, like, alcoholic shots. All Might goes, "Kid, you're fucking, what, 14? No." And All Might goes, "Why would I even do that?" Deku goes, "Because without it, you're gonna die. Or basically or you're gonna get beaten. And there's not a single person who can help you." All Might then goes, "God damn it." He goes, "How do I know you're telling the truth?" Deku then opens up his hands, showing all the many souls, and says, "These are all different people's souls. They all made a deal with me. And I got their power. And I got powers." And he goes, "Free, and I can do anything I want with a soul." And he says, "As long as I have a soul, I can make a complete different fucking universe. There's no limitations as long as I have a soul." Just as long as I have one, anything's possible. He then describes this, and he says, my horns get smaller, bigger or smaller, depending on souls. If I gain one, they grow bigger. If I use up one, they grow smaller. Oh, and then goes, "Show me." Deku says, "Alright." Points to the ground, says, and says, "What could I do?" And then Deku goes, "I guess I can just do this." Points at the ground of this building, right? And the ground starts to grow, right? And it grows up and grows and grows to like a concrete statue of Nana Shamora. All Might goes, "What the fuck, kid?" Deku goes, "That's your previous mentor, isn't it?" And then he points at it, and it just crumbles down and gets blown away into dust by the wind. Deku goes, "That's kind of similar to what happened there in real life, huh? Lost, just blew off in the wind like dust, huh?" All Might gets angry and says, "So, kid, if I take you up on this, you'll give me, you'll give me more power?" And then Deku goes, "Oh, yeah, but if you lose, your soul is mine." And he says, "Well, judging by your soul, since you're actually good and all, if you lose, All Might, you will die when I take your soul, unlike an evil person." All Might goes, "Fine, kid." And so Deku pulls up the table that was next to All Might, pulls up a random chair he found. All Might pulls up the chair he was sitting in. They sit down. Deku then summons, using his ability, a shit ton of shots, right? Didn't do the whole salt lime shit. Nope, just had to take him down raw. And so they went on and on and on and on. If you're wondering why Deku chose shots, it was because, well, to him, alcohol always kind of tasted good. Tasted actually delicious, actually. And it was very hard for him to get drunk. Because he had to drink just the right amount. If he went overboard, so he had to drink the perfect amount of alcohol to get drunk. If he went, a single drop over that, he would pass out. Right? So it was just drink till one of them passes out. They drink and drink. There's 2 shots left. All Might's having a hard time standing. Deku's feeling fine. Deku takes this shot and immediately collapses, falling over. All Might takes his shot, just barely being able to stand, but still alive and awake, right? Goes, "Jesus, kid." And then All Might slowly falls asleep. And Deku wakes up. He walks over to All Might, smacks him on the chest. All Might wakes up and goes, God damn it. So what, kid?" Deku goes, "Well, old man, you beat me. Fair and square." Snaps his fingers. All Might then feels energized, right? And he feels like his side's getting ripped out, though, and he collapses, screaming in pain. Deku then says, "Lift up your shirt." All Might lifts up his shirt and sees the wound is gone. He then jumps back up and says, "Kid, what did you just do?" And he goes, I fixed up your wound. You're gonna get a lot stronger now." Deku then walks backwards, teleports off the roof. So we're going to go ahead and skip to the first day of the entrance exam. Did I just say entrance exam? Sorry, first day of UA. So it's the first day of UA. Right, Deku walks in, he's first. Bakugo second. Bakugo sits on the opposite side of the classroom. Deku is staring at all the souls. Has them all laid out, right? And he just starts thinking about things like, I guess I could use that soul for something and things like that. And he goes, I got a lot of souls in my reserves. Don't know what to use them for, though. So he's just thinking. The other class comes in. Ida comes and sits down. Deku looks at Ida. Ida's looking straight ahead, avoiding all eye contact with the Deku. All the girls come in, right? Mina walks up to Deku. She's the first one. Everyone kind of looks at her like, you don't know what the fuck he's gonna do? So all everybody knows him for is basically just smacking the fuck out of Ida. And I'm gonna say they all kind of spoke to Ida before this, and they seen just what he was like. So Ida comes up to him all excitedly, starts talking to him. Deku does too. Right? They just have friendly banter and stuff. He's talking very friendly to her. They're just joking and stuff. And so she then goes back to her seat, talking to other girls. And I'm gonna say Ruckus is kind of next to Deku. And Deku, I'm gonna say Deku kind of develops a little bit of a crush on her. And he always catches her just kind of staring at him when he isn't looking, but pretending like he doesn't notice. And she does have a crush on him. So Deku is just sitting there, right? Just kind of thinking about, okay, today's probably just going to be a bunch of boring lectures or whatever. Aizawa then comes in, yells at him about that, and then he says, alright, now get up here and introduce yourselves. First up is Bakugo, and he comes up and says, I'm Katsuki Bakugo. I'm better than all of you. My quirk explosions. And sets off a small blast, says, don't fuck with me. He goes, sits back down. Everyone's like, Jesus, man. Ida comes up and says, I am Tinya Ida. Tinya Ida. So, he then just basically just say what his quirk was, everyone go up, and then it's time for Deku. So everyone kind of looks at Deku. Deku gets up there and says, hi, I'm Izuku Midoriya. A couple kids recognize that name. He leans forward and he lets out a cheeky smile. He goes, my quirk. Holds out his hand, it's all his souls, right? And he goes, these are all soul I've taken. If you want to make a deal with me, all you gotta do is give me your soul and I can make anything you want happen. As long as I have your soul. I can. And he goes and sits back down and everyone's kind of looking at him. Meta thinks, no, this is my chance. Aizawa says what he says before. And so Mineta then says to Deku, I'll tell you my soul if you let me get a look at all the girls while they're naked. Or changing at least. Deku goes, alright, kid. Right, and this is when they're changing their names, and Mineta sticks out his hand, right, and they shake each other's. Mineta's hand catches fire, sticks it out and says, oh, that hurt. He then looks at the wall and a small hole appears perfectly leading into the girls' room. Mineta gets all excited. Deku then says, go look. And everyone looks at Deku like, really? Why the fuck did you do that? Mineta then looks in, and the second he looks in, he gets to see all the girls, right? But it's so short of a time he doesn't get to see anything about him. When Jiro's earphone jack comes through and sticks him in the eye. And then the hole kind of breaks down, a bunch of dust gets in there, and he can't see through it anymore. And he goes, Midoriya, I thought you said I can get a look at him. And Deku goes, yeah, I did. Didn't say for how long. And man goes, did I really just sell my soul for that? And Deku goes, oh yeah, and you ain't getting it back. And man goes, ugh. He gets all pissed off and just hurry up, gets dressed and walks out of the room. The guys kind of laugh about it. And it's kind of like, bruh, he literally just lost his fucking soul. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Sorry guys if I do that a lot. It's just me checking to see how long I've been recording for. So Deku gets dressed and goes out. Everyone's kind of like, I wonder what the horns are for. All Might's watching them. saying about Deku, and he's kind of like, that bastard. He doesn't hate Deku, but he kind of resides him as a. I don't know how to say it. How to say what he thinks of Deku. This is the whole thing about expulsion. And so they go and they do that. And they start off with the ball throw. Also, I forgot to say Deku's seat is beside the window. So, they start off with a ball throw. Deku got first, so he leans back. Really far back. And he throws as hard as he can. 1,011 meters. And it's Bakugo's turn, right? Bakugo leans back and thinks, oh, I'll get better than you. Bakugo gets 1,010 meters. Exactly 1 meter short. And Aizawa goes, oh, that's strange. I go, what? And he goes, it's exactly, when I say exactly, I mean exactly 1 meter short of Deku's. I go, huh? Bakugo's like, what the fuck, that damn nerd. Also, in this one, Bakugo's explosions are going to be more powerful because of Deku. So, everyone else goes on the ball throw and everything. Deku doesn't get first in all of them. But he usually gets at least in the top 5. He gets first place in ball throw. In the dash, he gets first place. In the side to side, he gets first place. Strength test, he gets second place. I'm going to say Bakugo beats him. Because Deku wasn't trying. Sorry, in the grip test, I mean. And everything else, Bakugo's, like I said, at least in the top 5. And last place is that Hokakure girl. But, like, Aizawa sees potential in her, so he says it's just a logical ruse. So, Deku, so it's time for so they go back to class, right? On their way back, right, Denki kind of stops Deku, pulling him aside, and he says, hey, Deku. And, well, because he, like, everyone already started calling him Deku because Deku told him about, you know, his nickname. Deku looks at him and sees that Denki is a white soul. So he goes, alright, fine, this kid probably wants to make a deal. I'll do it. He goes, hey, I want to I want to make a deal with you. Deku goes, oh, okay, then what is it? And he goes, I really like a girl. He goes, oh, young love, I see. And Denki goes, shut up. And he points to Jiro, and he goes, I really like her, man. And Deku goes, let me guess, you want to sell your soul so we can get with her? And Denki goes, yes, I would. I like that a lot. Deku thinks about it. Deku goes, no, I don't think I will do that. Denki goes, wait, what? Why? Deku says, that'd be a waste of a soul, man. She already likes you. And Denki goes, wait, what? Deku goes, yeah, she kind of has a small crush on you. Denki goes, how can you tell? Deku goes, I can read their soul. I can read souls. Denki goes, oh, that makes some sense now. A lot of sense now. I guess I should say. So then Deku says, "Guess you get to keep your soul, kid." Pats Dinky on the back. I guess Kaminari, whatever you want to call him. I just like calling him Dinky. Dinky says, "Okay, thank you, man." So they go back to class. Aizawa teaches them some things, whatever, and then go to their other classes. That's the end of their first day there. What time? How much longer do I have? Fuck it. I'm not gonna go ahead and do it. Hey guys, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it off here. I'm getting very tired. So I'm probably not gonna record the second episode today. I'm probably gonna record it tomorrow. So I guess that means that there's gonna be a triple upload tomorrow. You guys can enjoy that. Alright.